We're good on Twitter. We're
Hey,
rolling.
you already got your Twitter. I'm jealous. You already got your Twitter notification.
It dinged. It's like lightning, like a
Wow.
lightning bolt. I don't even know why I'm opening up Facehole. I just why do I even do that?
Because that's where our largest audience is. I mean, you don't have to be there because you get to see the comments, fly up through the screen too. But that's the main reason. It's just because of the comments.
I only use Facehole for this show and to go on Facebook Marketplace. That's all I use it for.
Well, that's okay. I'm just saying, our largest audience is okay. I got my Facebook notification is on Facebook, and so that's the main reason I'm going to tune in here too. Speaking of stats, I want to share something with you real quick. Hold on just a second here while we're letting people
See,
feed in.
you say it's our biggest audience. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers on the little Facebook thing, and it's showing like 11 or 12 or maybe 20 people or whatever. But I'm looking at our other little number, and it's
Well,
double that.
yeah, that it's about half and half with YouTube on our live audience, but on after the fact views, um, it's far and away our biggest audience right now. But let me share some stats with you though that are pretty interesting right here as we're kind of getting warmed up. Hello, everybody. Good to see y'all. Val Baker, Judy Stewart, Jessica Langley Maddox, and Robin Triplet Simmons. All right, so I'm going to share something with you, and I meant to ask you this before I hit the button. What do you think our largest YouTube? Now, these are YouTube views only, okay? So this same video on Facebook is in the thousands of views. All right.
You're
Our
asking me
largest, our largest
which
one.
show, which video?
Yeah, no peeking, even though I literally have it sitting on the screen.
God, I don't have a clue. I mean, we've covered so many things. The Zamboni thing.
No,
I guess.
has to do with church. People like religion,
Oh well, there's only
politics, and
one.
religion
That's the only one time we've touched on that. You're saying that one has the highest view count
on YouTube.
on
And
YouTube.
I didn't check the Facebook stats today. And look at this. Our good friend, Mr. Ryan Gaddy, he's up there. Again, this is YouTube only views. Facebook, all these views are in the several thousands. So,
Gotcha.
just to show, our Princess Terminator is pretty high up there. But look at this right here, the Houghton mayoral debate that we did back in September. 614 views on YouTube, again in the thousands on Facebook.
Hey, them H Town people, see there, they care.
Yeah, they do. They is looking out. All right. We'll go to the break here in a minute, but what are we going to talk about? We have not spent hardly any time on the police jury. And you said, hey, we need to go back and review the police jury meeting and take a look at that. So, what kind of give us a quick, very quick summary or overview?
Well, look, we're trying to transition off of Bossier City a little bit. I mean, we're not letting it go, but we said that we had to get into some of these other government entities and some of the things that are taking place. And so this is kind of our first foray in getting into the police jury business. And they had a meeting last week, and boy, was there a lot that took place on that police jury meeting. And,
Mm.
they appointed a new parish administrator. They appointed a replacement, after the passing of Bob Brotherton. They even had the guy that's doing the tow bridge down there. He was even at the meeting
Really?
speaking. Yes, sir. And there was even a Robert Berry appearance at the
Wait,
meeting.
what? I'm shocked.
He spoke. Yes, sir.
Well, he was supposed to come on the show and spill the beans.
There was a lot that happened at that police jury meeting, and we kind of need to cover all of it. So And what would a Bossier Watch show be without us bringing everybody up to speed on the malfeasance in Bossier City? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we got to cover that and talk a little bit about all that. I mean, Jeff Sadow put out an article this afternoon, and he raised a point. I thought I was on top of everything, but he put out something and caught my attention that I had not considered. I think we need to cover that just a little bit.
Yeah, and then we're going to discuss softball.
Softball.
Softball. We're going to play games.
Softball.
Yeah.
Oh well, but that's not a game being played at any of the parks in Bossier City. I mean,
Well, that's only by reservation, and you got to know the
not by
right person.
citizens.
No,
Not by,
not by the average Joe Blow citizen. Well, of course
yeah.
not, dude.
Okay.
You
I was just
forget.
clarifying. I was clarifying.
Good old boys network. You must be connected. It's that simple. Or be doing travel ball.
Hey, and remember last show I said something about Lewis Johnson and live casino and something down there, and we're going to talk about that just a very short period of time. But there's also been some proton mail activity lately relating to one law enforcement agency.
It's not even on our I didn't put it on the show graphic for today, but yes, let me add it right here so we don't forget it, Bossier Parish. BPSO. Yes, we have a little discussion to do about the good sheriff's department. So, lots of stuff to talk about.
Yep. So all of y'all watching, you see the subject matter, you know what we're going to talk about. And if you know of anybody that might be interested in some of that subject we're going to talk about, you might want to tag them and tell them, hey, they're getting ready to talk about the sheriff's office. They're getting ready to talk about, heck, we're even going to talk about January 6th prisoners.
Oh, all those J6ers. Hey, they're free now. They shouldn't be prisoners. Ex-prisoners. Ex-cons.
No, sir, you are wrong.
Oh, they hadn't released any? I heard that they released some of them.
No, sir, Bob, you are incorrect. There are still, well, it might be 19 to be technically correct, but there are still 19 being held in DC jail right now. And what I can tell you is, well, we're covering it now. What I can tell you is that 6 hours ago, the U.S. Marshals went in because they had not been released, and nobody has come out. Not the U.S. Marshals, not the J6ers that were in there, not the employees of the D.C. jail. Nobody has come out.
Well, that's interesting. All right. Well, we got plenty to talk about after the break. Folks, y'all know the drill. I'm going to hit this little intro countdown button and all that sort of thing. That'll give everybody about 3 minutes to tag and share it out. Let your friends know we're going to be talking about the police jury tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about the city council. We're going to talk about softball, and we're going to talk about the sheriff's office just a little bit. We'll be right back. Here we go, Mr. Lowry.
If folks knew a lot of the back office on the politicians that they think walk on water, they would be shocked. You know, there's an old wound from a knife in my back that just is giving me heck lately, and it's just really irritating, so I have to kind of wiggle around a little bit.
I titled it "A Shot Across the Bow of the Good Old Boys."
Just, they feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
Some Republicans as well believe that government has the answers. And let me tell y'all something. I don't know anything government does well. Nothing.
And aren't there laws that say that you have public meetings so that the public can have accountability of their elected officials?
As a member of the media, I'm very concerned about what I've just heard.
Well, I'm not thinking Star Wars at all. I'm thinking zombie apocalypse. Oh, folks coming from the border down there?
Yeah, it's going to border. It's actually going to Mexico, the buses.
Doesn't mean they interpret it the same way that I do. For instance, the Second Amendment. I take it very literally that's been interpreted different ways in the court system, all the way up to SCOTUS. We're still right now combined on both pages and YouTube at 264 people watching. That is amazing, folks. Through conscious shocking actions, which in turn would enrich sitting city council members Scott Irwin and David Montgomery Jr. In theory, you know, it's an every week thing. We got to double check and make sure it's like a miracle any of this actually works. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 25 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting. Reach out to Julie Ferris. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And folks sharing information and watching out. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. Hey, you know what? Oh, go ahead.
No, knock yourself out. You beat me to the punch.
Well, I was just going to ask, I think you were watching you and your bride, the lovely Miss Kara, had posted some selfies from was it the Republican Women of Bossier? Or where were y'all watching the inauguration?
Yeah, the Republican Women of Bossier. I mean, you know, look, we knew she was having the surgery. We knew that we were going to be limited. We didn't know if we were going to be able to attend. But fortunately, everything went well. We were able to go to this. And I got to tell you, you know, I was at the last inauguration for Donald Trump in 2016. And I just, words can't describe how that event was. I guess that would be the last time that we have had a free president inaugural, that there was actually truly a president elected, that you had an inauguration.
Oh, that's being nice.
It was the last time, and God, there's memories there. I mean, I got to tell you, it's chilling, but it's hard. And then looking at this inauguration here, I mean, and the people didn't get to be out there, I'm glad I wasn't there.
Right.
It would have been hard. And I'll give you an example. So, like, we had seats in 2016. And Kara and I, you know, you have the stage, obviously wasn't on stage, but you have everybody up on the stage. Then you have seats right down in the front. There's only so many seats. Mm-hmm. And then you have everybody standing behind. And even the standing was good. But to get the seats, I mean, you had to have the ticket. And then two, you had to be there early.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in DC early. So I'm talking about our day started like 2 a.m.
Wow.
And we're out there at 2 a.m. DC time, and things didn't kick off until, you know, right before noon. So by the time at the end of that day, I mean, then you start talking about the balls at night, going to the balls. You've got to be an animal to be able to do all that. So for people looking at this here today, the fact that Trump was out there, what time was it? Midnight DC time. And he sits in there doing a press conference for 50 minutes, signing executive orders.
Yes, that was
after this day. I mean, dude, that guy is unhuman. I mean, he's not even, he's a machine.
Yeah. What did he say? Once upon a time, he only sleeps like 4 or 5, 6 hours or something like that, maybe. And, you know, he's generally working most of the time. Anyway, so interesting event. Did the electricity go out on y'all?
Yeah, sorry, squirrel. I got way off there. Yeah, the electricity went off, and everybody was like, all of a sudden, watching and listening on their phone. You had 100 people in there, and you had a million different views of the conversation going on, and everybody was in the dark. Yeah, it was kind of cool. I mean, there would have been an opportunity for some political fights, but none broke out.
Well, speaking of cool, so just to kind of segue off of that, did you see the snowstorm in South Louisiana? I was watching some of these weather chasers live, going down 190, and you know, I'm jealous. They got all the snow, we got none.
Well, it blows my mind. I heard somebody say, this is the first time in history there's been a blizzard warning for the Gulf Coast. I was like, okay, somebody's like joking around or whatever. And then I looked it up and like, No, they're dead serious.
Well,
They're dead
maybe
serious.
we're getting closer to the magnetic poles reversing again. Maybe it's not really, climate change like all the left likes to say all the time. And yes, the climate does change all the time. Maybe the poles are about to reverse. South
Well,
is going to be north. North is the new south. Who knows?
well, if we do that, we just got to stop Ducks Unlimited and Max Sharp and Straight Lake from holding all them ducks up there in Missouri, and let them go ahead and just come on to Louisiana so we can kill some.
Yeah, there we go. See, problem solved. All right. Speaking of outdoors related stuff, which this actually is going to tie into article I'm going to talk, or well, a little bit of open meeting stuff I'm going to talk about here in a minute, our public meeting stuff. Anyway, I got to give a little bit of credit to the folks up there around Caddo Lake and Jefferson. There was a meeting at the Jefferson City Council concerning this water issue in Caddo Lake and Dallas and all that. But anyway, there were quite a few speakers lined up to talk there. So glad to see that. And glad to see that the Jefferson City Council let them speak. I mean, they had time limits and you had to sign in a list, but they let them speak.
Oh, so you mean this ain't like Bossier where they censor, the people of Bossier, or try to shut you down from speaking, or try to say that, oh, you can only say these words, you can't say that words, and make the determination of whether something is germane or not to what they're talking about, and that decision is based off of whether they like it or not? They didn't do none of that?
They didn't do any of that. They just let the folks talk. Imagine that. As a matter of fact, here in a little bit, when we get down to that segment about the city council, I'm going to show the rules of decorum for Bossier City, of course, and I'm going to show the screenshot that the city of Jefferson, Texas has for theirs. It's quite the difference.
Maybe the people from Bossier City need to go to Jefferson to learn. Wait a minute. Let me take that back. Maybe they just need to go home.
Maybe they do. Maybe they need to. Maybe orange is the new black. They just need to go home in a paddy wagon.
Maybe them doing it for 20 to 30 years, they've lost sight of what it's all about. Maybe they need to do what they're supposed to do in the first place, what they took an oath to do, which was to serve the people,
and
not
uphold the law.
The law, that's important as well. But
yeah, maybe they should just resign.
Maybe they should.
All right. So, let's see. What else do we want to do? We did a Louisiana Watch. Had Louis Avalone on from the American Ground Radio. That was about an hour long. Went pretty well. Stephen Parr was not able to make it, but we had a good conversation with Louis. So.
Yep, talked about a little election integrity and a few other things. Yeah, it was a fun little get together. We've been meaning to do it for a long time. I wish we had been doing Louisiana Watch a little longer, but we're trying to kick it back off and get. And I wanted to tell you, hey, I have another radio personality, Rex, down from around Alexandria, in a station down there that is ready and willing to come on the show and talk. He actually says that we have some people that follow us down there. They appreciate what we're doing. And you remember us talking about the CO2 stuff and the port?
Yeah.
They actually commented and said, hey, they appreciate what we've talked about and what we've shined a light on there, and that we needed to focus a little bit more on the port and the CO2 stuff. That's particularly important down there to them folks in that area.
Yeah, could be interesting. And speaking of that and bankruptcies, we hadn't heard anything more from anybody about the deal going on in Plain Dealing. Maybe we need to look into that some more too. But yeah, hey, if we got somebody that wants to come on as a guest, they're welcome to come on. Absolutely.
Well, I can tell you a little bit about the deal up there in Plain Dealing on the sawmill. There's some problems. And
you don't say.
The problem is that they're having some difficulty finding an interpreter to speak Japanese.
Yeah. Or an interpreter for the Japanese to speak redneck.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we're doing economic development here. So if any of you are fluent in Japanese, go see Lisa Johnson at the Bossier Chamber and put in your application, and they'll facilitate you being able to help out with that transition up there.
Hey, and the port's got plenty of money. It's probably a paid position. And tell Lisa that we sent you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I tried to do that with a straight face. But
somewhere in Bossier City, little dolls are being stabbed with needles and ripped apart. Anyway, so
okay.
yeah, hey, the DC Gulag, they're still holding 19 J6ers, won't release them. The U.S. Marshals went in. Nobody has come out. Look, this could turn into a serious deal. You know why it could turn into a serious deal? Because the District of Columbia has special rules governing the District of Columbia. I got to tell you, break that shit up. I've said it on this show before. I mean, break that crap up. They should not have their own little court system up there that is above everybody else in the whole country. If there's prosecutions that need to be made regarding crimes against the country, randomly disperse those across all the federal court system across this country. Not that people can go up there in DC, commit crimes, and they can count on having a liberal justice system to carry their water and protect them. That whole ruse up there needs to be busted up and tore out by its roots.
I cannot disagree with that, but I find it very interesting that the marshals have gone in there and, as far as we know, not come out yet. That is not boding well.
Well, I would tell you that it's not just there that January 6ers are being held. Apparently, there are one or two that are in California in a jail over there they are refusing to release.
Well, and let me couch all this by saying this. I think that the January 6ers who destroyed government property should be justly punished. Now, I would argue they've been in jail for what, year and a half, 2-3 years now. That's probably long enough for that. So, but here's the biggest problem that I have is that none of the police officers who literally escorted many of the J6ers who are now in jail through the buildings basically gave them a tour of the building. None of them were prosecuted. Zero. Not even the guy, I don't even think the guy that shot Ashley Babbitt was prosecuted.
Yeah, no, he wasn't prosecuted, but I would contend there is so much dirty laundry on that whole deal. Hopefully, we're going to have investigations. We're going to have the truth. I mean, Liz Cheney and all of them, Adam Kinzinger, they all destroyed evidence. All of them. They destroyed evidence of what actually took place, and it was all for politics. And you know what? Look, I would agree with you. If some of these January 6 people, if they truly did things that they shouldn't have done and were bad, yeah, they should be prosecuted.
You take that risk when you're going to riot.
That's right. But I can't accept any of the prosecutions of anybody up there until I know that all of the facts have been put out there. I mean, all of it. And it's not been out there. You had people conspire through that whole process, and I don't think even a Democrat can deny that the whole damn thing stinks.
Yeah.
And Mike Johnson, where are you at, Walk on Water? You said the last time when you went to be speaker, you were going to release all the videos, and all the videos still have not been released.
I know. Where are they?
I mean, y'all can be mad at me because look, let's face it. The majority of people in our district are not going to say anything ill of Walk on Water, but I'm going to say it. If you are the big, beating on the drums, why have they not all been released? Did he not say he was going to do it? Where are they at? I'm asking you. I'm challenging you. Explain to me why they haven't been.
Well,
he said he was going to do it.
They were going to do it, but the funding for the release to, get all that video and load it up on servers and release it all. They had to use that funding for Ukraine.
See, stop me from having to correct you tonight. You're wrong again.
Oh,
It
I'm
was
sorry.
not for Ukraine. It was
Oh.
for transgender studies in
Oh.
Pakistan.
I forgot
Dadgum you.
that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there
I
we go for
know.
our Mike Johnson bash session.
I'm talking blasphemy, and y'all all are don't want nothing to do. I mean, look, all we can do is put it out there. If you don't want to listen to it and you don't want to hear it, I mean, we're not twisting your arm. I mean, we'll be fine with just Ryan Haygood watching.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, I see Nick Peters is watching. Nick, if you're listening or whatever, give us an update in the comments. Has there been any progress on y'all's
well,
situation?
hey, Nick there's a part of our show tonight pertaining to the police jury meeting when we go through that pertains to Nick Peters. He'll see that here in a little while.
Oh, interesting. Oh, now I'm really intrigued. All right, so let's get to some topics and quit kind of walking around the fence row here. Puff piece. So the title of the show is Puff Pieces or Puff Piece. Anyway, so what did I mean when I came up with that title? Because usually I come up with these titles of, literally 30 minutes before I post the show event listing and all that.
Well, I know exactly what it is because it took everything in my power not to send the Bossier Press Tribune a nasty letter the last time they did a puff piece. But I bit my tongue and I didn't do it. I mean, there was a group of us, we all agreed that the Bossier Press was carrying the water of the malfeasance, and here we go. They did it a freaking again.
Look, you kind of can't blame them. I mean, the city of Bossier City does spend quite a bit of money. The Bossier Press Tribune is, I believe, the journal of record for the Bossier City Council. And so, look, I think Richard Ray, didn't he say, or did somebody send us a copy of the Bossier Press Tribune? Like they put the entire charter or something ridiculous in there that I guess they had to do legally. I don't know. No telling how much money that costs.
Yeah, they do. And Richard, oh, by the way, if unlike y'all, I mean, it could be petty. You need to be checking your journal of record because you had an advertisement pasted over the top of your posting, which an argument could have been made that, that screwed up your posting. But, we'll leave being chicken shit to other people in government, not, the public.
Yeah, so here's the reason for the title of the show. I'm going to read this first paragraph, which I have highlighted in red in my screenshot there. This was an article from the Bossier Press Tribune, written by, according to the credits on the article, Stacy Tinsley. Just listen for a minute. The contentious issue of term limits for Bossier City officials will go before voters on March 29th, 2025, following a judicial decision rejecting an appeal by 5 city council members who sought to block the proposed charter amendment.
Oh, Miss Tinsley, I'm so glad that the term limits thing is going to be in the hands of the voters, that they get their opportunity to decide it. How great of you to tell the voters that they're going to get the opportunity to decide it.
Yeah, and so you scroll on down. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I mean, some of this, obviously, they got some of the facts straight, but it was such a softball article. Let me flip.
Didn't get the facts. They didn't get. Okay, I'm gonna say what I think here. I don't know Miss Tinsley. I hear her and Richard Ray are good friends. But you know what I think? I think Richard Ray wrote this article, and I think Richard Ray wrote the article before that.
You don't say.
If that's correct, I mean, Bossier Press, I mean, should you not delineate whether or not you're just printing stuff for people in somebody else's name? I mean, why don't you just come on out and say it? Why don't you just say it?
Yeah, and so it's not like that was an accident or whatever, because let me put my little
It's
highlight in.
steering the public. It's not. They're steering the public with this article. This article is making the public think that this is the people's petition, and that is false. That is
Ding, 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 ding,
misleading,
ding,
and it is
ding.
false.
So the last paragraph of the article says, and I quote, with the court's decision, Bossier City voters will have the final say on March 29th, potentially shaping the future of Bossier City's governance.
I mean, come on. I mean, at the end of the day, all you have is your integrity, and your respect. I I will say this: there's I know one person over there. I know him to be an honorable person. I know him to be a good person, and I know him to be somebody that wants the truth. And I don't know that if he is on the story, but if he's following this, and I hope by all means he watches this, and I hope that he goes to the person that owns the thing and says, we need to go out of our way to correct this because you guys are steering the public. You're taking a role. You're not being the press. You're not being the media. This is not journalism. This is not journalism. This is activism. That's what it is. Rex and I don't call ourselves journalists. There's a difference. We say we have our opinion. We think one way, and we call ourselves amateur journalists because we acknowledge we make mistakes.
Yes.
This ain't making a mistake.
No, this was intentional.
This is intentionally trying to deceive the public, but yet you're claiming to be an unbiased journalist. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. If they had done this, an editorial article or whatever, okay, maybe a little more leeway, but this is not the only time they've done that. They did it repeatedly in the same article. So, yeah, what's up with that? Folks, let everybody know. Go to the Bossier Press Tribune's Facebook page and light up the comments. Go to the website and email Randy Brown and what's her name, Tinsley, and let them know, hey, that ain't going to cut it with our tax dollars helping support you, literally.
Well, here's the thing. There's going to be a new council. I don't know if there's another, paper that could be the Journal of Record. Maybe there is, but this right here, gives me cause that maybe a new council should be thinking about that, because if you're going to, push dialogue that's inaccurate, or you're going to push a message to try to steer things, maybe you shouldn't be the Journal of Record. You're supposed to be unbiased. You're supposed to call balls and strikes, not try to steer it one way or the other. And this is steering it one way.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, now let's go 180 degrees opposite before we get to the police jury stuff. And let's talk about Mike and Aaron. I always want to say Robert and Aaron. Mike and Aaron on Keel. Now, we've already, the Bossier term limits, we posted that, the transcribed audio as a video of Wes's excellent segment that he did on Keel last Thursday. And I also posted there were two more segments that Mike and Aaron did before Wes came on that were actually really excellent. Would you like to listen to one of them, Mr. Lowry?
Yeah, I definitely want to, but before I do, I want to give y'all a little background. Did you know, Rex? I'm going to share this with you. And a lot of y'all watching, y'all probably didn't know this. I mean, look, Mike and Aaron, I call them, I hate to say, in Aaron's case, true journalism. Mike has always been in the media industry, but they both care about their community. I like the way they do journalism. I like it. And I'll give you an example of why I say like they truly care. Did you know, Rex, that Mike used to, he was a reserve officer in Bossier, rode around.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. He went and volunteered his time as a reserve officer in Bossier City. That they would ride with regular patrol officers, and then also do, once they've been doing it a while, they would ride on their own. And it helps protect the city without extra expense to the city. It's a great program, encourage people to do it. But Mike used to go and do that. I mean, he did it and the reason I know that he did it is because he was doing it when I did it while I was a fireman. I mean, he didn't have to.
No, it's putting your money where your mouth is, so to speak. I mean, he wouldn't put money where his mouth is, but he's gone and been there and seen that.
He didn't work in government in any capacity. He just volunteered to go down there and do that. And, that says something about people, that they care about their community. And anyway, I know I sidetracked where you were going with this.
Oh, that's okay.
Let's listen to what their take was on it.
Yeah, it's about 2 minutes. I've already posted it, but for those of you that hadn't seen it, here we go.
Just looking at the Bossier City Council page, Bossier has, 7 members? Mm-hmm. David Montgomery, Chris Smith, Brian Hammonds, Jeff Darby, Don Williams, Jeff Free, and Vince Maggio. Mm-hmm. 2 of them are at-large members, David Montgomery and Chris Smith. And then 5 of them represent the 5 different districts in Bossier. Chris Smith and Brian Hammonds are the 2 that want term limits.
Yep, they've been pushing for it, along with the mayor.
The mayor ran on term limits, Tommy Chandler. So those 2, the other 5, I'm just saying, voters in Bossier City, do your homework.
Yeah, know what you're doing. Know what you're doing.
Don't just vote because that's, and that's why it's so hard to beat an incumbent. Mm-hmm. Because people just go in and that's the name they know, and they just cast the ballot.
And that's why to raise the argument that term limits is at the polls, you can vote us out. No, you have an unfair advantage if you're an incumbent.
Sure, I agree.
You have an unfair advantage. You know the ropes. You know who the power players are. You know who to get money
Juliana
from.
Parks would disagree.
You're not starting from scratch. So you have an advantage going in. So to make that argument, I think is not right. It's not valid. I think the voters in Bossier will speak loud and clear in March.
And Aaron, it just makes you wonder, okay, because they're not paid. It's not a full-time job. Mm-hmm. What's the appeal? What's going on?
They make $10,000 a year.
So what's going on that you want to maintain and keep this position?
That's a good question. It's a good question.
So I thought they did an excellent job of pretty much laying it out there. And they did their first segment. It was like the very first segment of their show that morning was excellent too. I won't play it because it's about 8 minutes long, but I've got it posted on Bossier Term Limits and shared on Bossier Watch. It's excellent too because they pretty much were excoriating the city council.
Well, they're asking the $1 million question, and there's a couple of points I want to make here. So, when we talk about the show, we're in this shell that not everybody watches the show. There's a ton of citizens that, 20 something, what was it? 20 or 33% of the voters that voted in the last mayor's election is the number of signatures it takes to get a proposition on the ballot to amend the charter. And that comes up to, I know the number is like 3,000. We've got 80 to 100 people watching the show right now. That's not enough people. Right. So that means that, we're not even scratching the surface of the number of people that need to be informed about what these guys are doing down here. And you know what? They know that. They know that only a minority of people are hearing this, because those of you that are informed, you're saying, how could they even believe or think that they could get reelected? Well, it's because the rest of us are out there. We're asleep. We're sleepwalking. Y'all got to tell the public what they're doing, because they're not listening to Keel. They're not listening to us. They don't know all of these details. You got to share it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So here's some agenda that y'all can share out. Let me get my little clickery going here, what is that? Cut 20. Well, first of all, let me share this. I'm gonna kind of.
But the why are they doing it that Aaron asked? Why are they doing it? I seen somebody put in there for kickbacks. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that at all. But it's about their ability to pick the winners and losers, to
Right.
pick the winners and losers among you.
Look.
Example, Red Rover, picking the winners and losers and being able to use the power, the influence, and the thumb of local government, just like the DC people and them January 6 people. There's no different than what these asshats are doing, using Bossier City's power to put the thumb on people within our community.
Well, and there is asshat number one, asshat extraordinaire, Queen Monty, David Montgomery himself. And guess where he's at? Tommy Chandler's coming out party. I mean, running for mayor party. There's David Montgomery, who pretty much, sorry, Tommy, but pretty much neutered Tommy within the first couple of city council meetings that Tommy attended and excoriated him all over the Shane Cheatham deal. And there he is at Tommy's mayoral party.
But look, why is he there? Let's talk about it. Why is he there? Why do you think he's there, Rex?
Oh, I think he's there because he just likes to revel in his success.
Well, I think he's there because he knows that can't nobody beat Tommy. They wanted to run Vince, and at the time of this, I think he knew, I mean, this is just my speculation, I think he knew that they were going to get their hat handed to them from the Second Circuit, and after that, with everybody being labeled malfeasance, there's nobody going to beat Tommy. Term limits has set the stage. No, there's nobody they're going to be able to, not Vince Maggio, you know, they're all tarnished now. There ain't nobody going to be able to do that. So you know what? Why not go there?
Well, why not throw his lasso around the horses that he's already hobbled?
Well, I mean, he's hobbled it because he had control. But
exactly.
What happens when he loses control in this next election if we put all new councilmen in there that are going to throw off all these guys that have been, you know, screwing everybody, pardon my French.
All right, so we got a question, a little bit of a segue, but related. Miss Jerry says, what is the name of the female attorney on the Louisiana Bond Commission that was asking for someone to call her about city term limits proposal? That would be Angelique Friel, Freel, Angelique Friel. Used to be with the AG's office. If I remember correctly, now she's counselor to Governor Jeff Landry. And she is a member of the Bond Commission.
That is correct. I think she is the governor's appointee.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think she's the governor's appointee.
All right, so Haygood says, Tommy can't win if someone brings out his record. Yes, he can, because nobody else is running.
I agree with you, Ryan. I mean, I agree with you, Rex. Yeah, Ryan, nobody's going to beat Tommy. I mean, what is his record? I mean, his record is he has tried to do what he said he was going to do, and he had a council that objected and stood in his way. Now, could he have been more aggressive? Could he have been a better politician in attempting to do that? Absolutely. Could he have articulated it better? Yeah, absolutely. But could he have gotten any of it done with these asshats that are in there? No.
Right.
He couldn't have. So what is he? It's going to sound like I'm carrying his water and I'm giving him I'm not. But the reality is he can only do so much. He even has city attorneys that are sitting there in his midst that let's face it, he couldn't get the city attorneys maybe that he really wanted, because guess what? It's got to be approved by all these jackwagons. The only one that, in my opinion, he had working on his behalf was a CAO. And, oh, by the way, you know, Darby and all of them, because she was a woman, what was it? Wanted to put her on a working test period?
Right.
Or some shit. No other appointee, but because she was a woman, wanted to put her on a working test period.
Right.
Didn't do that to anybody else.
Yeah, we saw how that worked out for them. And look, I'll say this too.
Well, how did it work out? Because I don't think you telling me that all the women in Bossier City know what Darby and them were proposing.
No, but
I think if they knew, they'd be pissed off.
Well, if I've got time to go back, because you just reminded me of that, if I've got time to go back, I guess I'm going to have to do all the work for the behind the scenes campaign people and pull all those videos and make some cute little snippets for them and stick it out there and remind everybody.
If they can't win these elections, they don't need to be running for office.
Yeah, no kidding. So I don't even know where I was going. Oh, here we go. The shall versus may. I got I sidetracked myself that time. No, that's okay. I sidetracked myself. So here's an important thing for y'all to remember, because words matter. I've said it ad nauseum. Richard Ray's famous quote, words matter. The Louisiana Code of Civil Procedure, what is this? Article 5053, words and phrases. Words and phrases are to be read in their context and are to be construed according to the common and approved usage of the language employed. The word shall is mandatory, as in you shall put the petition, the term limits petition, on the ballot before the voters, because it's a legally certified petition, and that's what the charter says. You shall do this. The word may is permissive. Could be, might not be, as in they may have committed malfeasance. So, words of the day, there's everybody's education lesson for today. And I'm trying desperately to focus, Rusty. Well, so there's my spill on the city council, I guess. Oh, the rules of decorum, though. We'll get to that in a minute, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me take a shot here. So, all of you know, Second Circuit came out and said they may have committed malfeasance, which is unheard of for them to jump right out there and say. So, when the Second Circuit upheld Judge Parker Self, who correctly ruled, and I get tired of having to preface this and say in our opinion, in the freaking opinion. I mean, he did what was right.
Right.
But they upheld all the way. I mean, I don't know that they could have written a stronger opinion than what they wrote. And to come out and say what they said and essentially give us the golden hammer, and to say that they may have committed malfeasance, it basically is saying that they did and that somebody should prosecute it. We said last week, will the DA do it? Probably not. Richard Ray is an assistant ADA. Charles Jacobs, former judge up there. There's a lot of conflicts. I mean, tap out, bro. Get out of the way. Let the AG come in here and do it. But then would the AG even do it? They should. It shouldn't matter who it is. They should prosecute. They should impanel some folks to determine whether or not it was a crime or whether or not. You can say I'm biased. It was a crime. You got it right there. It says shall. That was what was guiding them. They decided, and there's plenty of comments, recorded comments of them saying that piss on the shall, that they're not going to do that. And for those of you council members that are listening, y'all think back long and hard about the comments you made publicly. Think about it.
Yeah.
And
we don't have to make anything up. We can literally use your comments against you. You made them in public.
That's right. So what do these asshats, and if y'all are watching, I want y'all to take that personal, because I am calling you an asshat. All of you. I mean, Vince, I'm calling you an asshat. All of y'all, I'm calling you asshats. What did they choose to do this week, Rex? They choose to, after the Second Circuit Court of Appeals ruling come out, to not call a special meeting
election.
to put this on the ballot.
I mean, yeah, special meetings are.
So, in essence, by not calling a special meeting to get it done as soon as possible, what were they doing? Why would they do that?
Right.
So, go to that link in the comments. Yep. I saw you just queued up, ready to go. And so we want to show y'all what these guys have up their sleeve. Why would they have not called a special meeting just immediately afterwards? I mean, if somebody in the comments is going to say, oh, but they could appeal to the Louisiana Supreme Court. Yeah, they could, but they already know the answer to their jackwagon attorney that they hired out of New Orleans has already told them not a chance in hell that the Louisiana Supreme Court is going to hear this. But here's really the reason why. Here's really what's up. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, Rex. Go to the calendar part.
All right, going down to the calendar.
Right there. And I'm going to have to pull it up because right at the top, it may be it's the second line. What's the date in the first column? What is that first column again?
February 20th.
What is it? What is
a meeting date?
Meeting date. So that is when the bond commission is going to have their meeting, right? And what's the next column? Applications due by?
Yep. 1/22 of 25 for the second column.
So that means they would have had to have had a special meeting, called a special meeting by tomorrow, or had it by tomorrow, and voted to send a resolution to the bond commission to get it on the election in the fourth column.
Yep.
What is that over there?
Election date, May the 3rd.
Bingo. So guess what, guys? They refused to call a special meeting so that it could not make it on the next soonest ballot. So what's the next ballot available? Drop down from where you got the cursor, Rex.
October.
So is anybody confused? Is anybody in the comments confused about why they didn't call a special meeting?
They're refusing to follow the law again. At this point, we can make a very strong argument they're in contempt of court. They're living up to the may have committed malfeasance. They're living up to that wholeheartedly and elevating it to have committed malfeasance again. I'm not even going to disclaim the words with might have or the court said it. It's blatantly obvious.
So I want to redirect this a little bit. So for those of you watching the show and you don't comment and that's fine. That's fine. I mean, because I don't want to beat up on you, but I want you in your heart. I want you to ask yourself, you're supporting these people. For those of you that are watching that you don't comment and you're supporting these people, you've had 4 judges now that have said basically that these guys have ignored their responsibilities as an elected official to represent you. And yes, to those in the back row, that includes Vince Maggio. You know, Vince Maggio, you said if you weren't doing a good job, you just quit. I'm calling on you to quit because my opinion, you've committed malfeasance because you didn't do your job. Shall, right there, as it's defined by the state law, you ignored that. Why did you do it? Why did you do it? You either did it out of ignorance or you did it out of malice against the citizens of Bossier. You didn't have a choice. So you didn't study it. You didn't do your homework. You chose to do it intentionally. That means you're not representing the people. You can say what you want. You're not representing the people. You're representing yourself, your own self. You got to get out of the way. You got to go away. You got to resign because why should anybody believe? And so for those of you watching, if you're going to go back out there and you're just going to pull the lever for these people so that they can just continue to break the law and ignore, you know what? What does that say about you?
Oh, I agree. No
what does it say
moral
about you?
compass.
Yeah, morality is out the window.
The
And I
polls
see,
have reversed on that compass.
yeah, and some of them people were making big posts about what's happening in Washington and with Trump and all that and all. I mean, it
Yeah.
makes me, it disgusts me. And I know for a fact that they've received benefits on the backs of the taxpayers, you know, and they're out there talking about good government and talking about Trump and talking about rah rah and all this
Rah,
crap.
hoorah, yeah.
You make me want to vomit. Make me
Yeah.
want to vomit. I mean,
All
you need
right,
to go look in the mirror.
so one of the actionable things that we're going to do here in the next couple of days is we'll be releasing a form letter for folks to fill out, and you can submit the letter, and it's going to go to the DAs. Now, encouraging him to look into the malfeasance, basically. Now, that doesn't carry any legal weight. That doesn't force Skylar Marvin to do anything. But at least he'll get some messages and have to hit delete or spam on some emails.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We have a new one, May May.
Oh.
I don't know who May May is, but
That's in, let's see. Call the media, call Liz Murrell, call Saul. Better call Saul, somebody. I mean, obviously, the lawyers around here aren't getting it, except for Danny and the one for Tommy and Chris and Brian. But anyway,
is May May our new fly?
Maybe so. Never know. Keep calm. Let's see. Keep calm and trust God. In God we trust. I want to see some righteousness of God coming down upon some people.
Yeah, Trump brings. Anyway, back to releasing the form letter. Go back.
So we're going to develop a form letter where you can fill it out online, kind of like we've done the term limit support letters, a form letter online. You can do it from your phone. You can do it from a computer. It'll actually have a place where you can digitally sign your signature and all that. Copies of it will come to the Bossier Term Limits Coalition, the core group, but they'll also, of course, be directed to Skylar Marvin's office, whatever his official email address is. We're not saying they carry any legal weight. That's not going to, if we get so many of them, it's not going to force him to do anything. But at least we can say it's not like this was not on his radar.
Oh, Val Baker says the Western District Attorney resigned. How about that?
That's interesting.
The new appointee would be quite amazing. I got an idea who it's not going to be that would replace him, but I'm not going to say nothing else. Release it. Hey,
I just caught that.
My mind is spinning off the rails here.
Yeah.
You got to be operating at a high level to keep up here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
That was so condescending.
Yes, it was. But those of you that have watched the show would catch that for a while because we talked about it several dozen shows back.
And a lot of people think that I'm just babbling. There's really substance there.
There is a method to the madness. It is madness, but there's at least a method to it. So, yeah. So, next bullet point. Jeff Sadow, what happened?
I used to tell people I could see the purple elephant in the, standing out in the yard. I just could never make other people see it. Somehow or another, you see it.
It's contagious. That's how. So what did Mr. Sadow have to say today? If you haven't read the article, we haven't posted the link yet. We will do it because it's a great article. He just released it a few hours ago. So what's the deal with Sadow? What did he bring up interesting today?
Look, Sadow, he is the gift that keeps on giving. He brought to my attention something I had forgotten about, and it makes perfect sense. Do y'all remember when Chris Smith was supposed to be the grand poobah or the chairman or president or whatever the hell they want to call it of the Bossier City Council? Remember when he was supposed to be the guy?
Wasn't he vice president or vice chairman? And typically the vice chairman or vice president is elevated to the chairmanship, right?
That's the way it's always been.
Okay. I don't think there's any statute that says that or any ordinance. It's just kind of the etiquette.
Precedent and etiquette.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, bam, they like pulled it out from under him and put Bubba Don back up there. And then there was a couple of meetings that Bubba Don was like, it was questionable as to whether he was even there. I mean, whether he was conscious.
And didn't they relegate him back to vice principal or whatever? I don't remember.
I don't know if they did that or not, but Jeff Sadow brought it full circle as to the why. Well, think about it. To call a special meeting, the chairman can call a special meeting on his own, or a majority vote of all of the councilmen can call a special meeting.
You don't say. They were being sneaky and underhanded again.
Well, I think Jeff Sadow was suggesting that they knew that potentially this day could come where a special meeting would potentially be required to call, and they couldn't have a pro retroactive term limits or pro people's petition guy in charge, because what if the Second Circuit came out with a ruling like they did and he called a special meeting to get it on a ballot that would be of relevance?
So wait a minute, though. That brings up an interesting point. Was it groupthink and they just all magically by osmosis of the mind decided this? Or was there, what is that term in the law? Oh, walking quorum.
Well, but the problem with that, Rex, is Verizon doesn't keep records. Remember that?
They're not easily obtainable. How could I ever forget that phrase?
Nobody has records that you could obtain to be able to prove that they had communications about it. Remember? Richard Ray told us so.
Well, look, here's the whole problem I have with that. Of course, Haygood brings up a good point. So I'm going to go ahead and put that comment up, and then I'm going to give my 2 cents on this. Haygood says, Chris was going to agree to a watered down term limits and kiss the ring. Then he didn't. Yeah, we see what that, or he sees what that got him and didn't get him. But notice there wasn't even a peep from Chris Smith. If I were in that position and they had decided something like this, I'd have been raising all mortal hell. I'd have held a press conference I'd have held a press conference during the city council meeting.
Wait a minute, you're talking about not raising him up to being the chairman of the Grand Poobah or whatever?
There was zero commentary. It was like it was never going to happen anyway.
Okay, y'all can start ripping me. Here's your opportunity. Why would I do that? So I'm putting myself in Chris Smith's shoes, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, why would I raise hell and do that? So that I raise hell so that I could have a majority of councilmen beat me down as chairman every freaking meeting from now to the end of that term?
No, they weren't going to vote him in anyway. So he should have used that opportunity, much like Tommy Chandler refuses, well, except for one time with term limits, refuses to do the same thing. And what does it get him? He gets his nuts chopped every time. So does Chris Smith. I mean, I love you, Chris. I think you're doing almost everything a good job, but come on.
We will disagree, because in this situation, I think he played it right in laying back and being a sniper. I mean,
where has he been a sniper? Okay. To be a sniper, you got to actually take some shots. He's taken none since then. Well, since that time frame.
He took some shots, and I'm off my game. I wasn't prepared to. But what was the one? There was a shot recently. He took one, and I can't remember what it is, and I can't spout it. But I guess I'll just lose the debate because I can't remember it. But
I'll cut you a little slack, only because I still do like Chris.
I wasn't prepared.
And Chris, I'm going to pull the lever for you for councilman at large, and I recommend everybody do the same. Vote for Chris Smith. That's not an official endorsement because we're not a PAC or a political entity or anything like that. I'm just telling you personally, I'm going to pull the lever for Chris Smith.
Oh, well, here's my problem with Chris Smith. You want to hear my problem with Chris Smith?
All right. And folks, we didn't have bash Chris Smith in the nose, but
no, that is not. You want to hear my problem? I'm bashing Chris Smith. I can't vote for him. You're the one who vote for him. You just said.
Oh, that's right. You're one of them outsiders.
That's right. I can't vote for him. I ain't got no voice. But I just want to know, why the hell are you going to vote for him? He ain't even trying. He ain't even got a damn campaign sign up in Bossier.
Chris doesn't have any campaign signs up yet.
Tell me, where have you seen one?
Well, I was just trying to run through my brain. Let's see. I've seen
one. Where have you
Joel's
seen
got
one?
them everywhere. As a matter of fact, they've been up so long they're starting to warp now. Creighton Cochran is running for at-large. I saw some of his the other day. Who else? Deborah Ross. I know that Miss Deborah's got signs up. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Y'all help me out in the comments. He doesn't have any. I hadn't seen any.
Has anybody where is Chris Smith's signs? Has anybody seen a Chris Smith sign? Is he running? Is he going to qualify?
Well, time's ticking. What, isn't it January the 29th or something like that? 29th through the 31st or something's qualifying?
Shit, I don't know. It's coming up here pretty soon. I mean, maybe he's going to be indicted and be said to be malfeasant. I don't know, but I don't know.
Somehow I see a Disney movie going through my head and some singing "Let It Go." But anyway,
why does Chris not have any signs up? That's what I want to know. What?
Well, maybe he's playing it smart. I mean, some like Joel. No offense, because I'm going to vote for Joel. Well, if nobody else qualifies, if Jeff doesn't qualify, it's just going to be Joel, so he's going to win by default. But I'll vote for Joel because he's not Jeff Free. And when we talked to him, seemed to be a decent guy, but he's had his signs up so daggum long, they're starting to fade and bend and warp and twist.
Well, look, let me go ahead and put this out here, and I I have had multiple names. I'm gonna say it this way: submitted to me, asking my opinion about challenging Montgomery. I mean, not Montgomery. Maggio. Blood's in the water. There are people that after this Second Circuit ruling, that they committed malfeasance, before it was unheard of. It was unquestionable. There's people even saying they were trying to say Maggio is the only one that can challenge Tommy Chandler and can beat Chandler. We were having the discussion, remember?
Yeah, remember we painted all these possible scenarios, one of which was going to be Maggio was going to go ahead and run against Tommy, but he might lose, but who cares? And then Creighton could slip in and run for the district seat, but unless he's going to go around changing his signs before or right after qualifying, that apparently is not going to happen.
What happens if they're all charged with malfeasance right before qualifying?
We can start singing a Disney theme song, Maleficent or whatever.
Do you think? No, I'm asking you seriously. Do you think if Vince Maggio is charged with malfeasance in office, do you think that he can be beat? That's $1 million question. Can he be beat? Do you think all the people in his district? I mean, he's a lock for anything that he has run for before. But when they find out, when they get those mail pieces that say, vote for somebody who has arguably committed, or I don't know how they would say it. I don't know how, because the political people will form that up. But when they say he's committed malfeasance in office, how's that work out? Are they going to vote for somebody that they know committed malfeasance and potentially is going to be a felon? Are they Jeff Free? Okay. What about Jeff Free? Can you see the mail pieces all across Bossier City about being a malfeasant? And what about the thing with the court order being in contempt of court?
Yeah, contempt of court. Yes. Well, all
I
right.
mean,
okay.
I can only dream of those mail pieces.
All right. So we had a comment which is going to lead or segue us kind of into the next little soapbox that I want to get on. Let me see here. We need a billboard. All right. So one of the comments is Rusty Maddox says we need a billboard with the instead of the Magnificent Seven, the Malfeasance 5 with pics. I agree, Rusty. Somebody said
I'm envisioning malfeasance is a terrible thing. Vote pro people.
Yeah. Val Baker says, can the Attorney General do anything about the council? Well, possibly. But that leads me into my other thing that I actually didn't have in the notes, although I had these screenshots. And this is the screenshot of the Proton mail that we answered today. So give me about 5 seconds here, and let me get the screens readjusted because I want to put this up on the screen. So we got this Proton mail in. I think it was earlier today. Maybe it was last night. Anyway, about the people's petition, blah, blah, blah. I'll read it to you. It says, I am sitting here and I am having a thought. This is from the Proton mail sender. Since the city of Bossier City has gone out of their way to keep the people's petition for term limits off the ballot by rejecting their petition and failing to uphold their sworn duty per the city charter, which resulted in a lawsuit being filed against the city by the People's Petition Coalition, which the coalition won in lower court and the appellate court. I am wondering if the People's Petition Coalition, it's hard to say, could file a lawsuit against the city of Bossier City to keep the city of Bossier City's petition for term limits off the ballot until the people's petition has run its course through the Louisiana Supreme Court. Just wondering what your opinion is on that.
Well, here's something I'm going to say. So I want to throw it all out to you. One time, somebody called me. They said, "Oh, Duke, you're just one of those firehouse lawyers." But let me challenge our audience this, and for those of you councilmen on the other side of the equation, or to their people watching who will convey the message back to them, why don't you ask them if they lose qualified immunity if they commit a felony? I'm just wondering, is qualified immunity in place if you commit a felony? I want you to think long and hard about that. And I want you to challenge yourself. And by all means, if you want to ask the city attorneys and you want to get confirmation that you're on a sound footing with your position, by all means, trust in their judgment.
Well, that is a good point. I want to bring up, though, the response that we sent. And as a matter of fact, I just got a reply from the same person. I said, well, there is nothing that prevents any resident of Bossier City from hiring an attorney and filing a lawsuit against the city. It doesn't have to be Cassie Mae Rogers. It doesn't have to be me. You just have to have some sort of standing, which means you need to be a resident of Bossier City. We have basically, Bossier Watch, the Bossier Term Limits Coalition, the core group, and everybody helping, we have basically, and I misspelled basically, mapped the entire process on our shows and posts. For us, it's a matter of time and money. We don't do this for a living, nor do we have attorneys that work pro bono. And I would like to point out, one of the instrumental people, of course, has been Colonel Crockett. Of course, Wes Marriott, Cassie Rogers, and there's a whole double, triple handful of folks that we call the core group. But anybody could go file that suit. Why are y'all waiting on us? I mean, we're leading the charge. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to denigrate anybody that's watching the show, so don't take it the wrong way, folks. I'm saying in general, for folks that are watching this is something that anybody who's a resident has standing can go file.
Military folks will get this, but all of what we have done, it is an example of the success of combined arms. And when I say combined arms, it's combined talents and abilities of people to do different things. You know, all of these things, when you put them all together, they're a force to be reckoned with. And, you know, everybody's contribution in totality has the ability to change things. And, you know, if anybody is moved, there's nothing stopping you. The only thing stopping you from getting involved and taking action is you. That's it.
Right. Yeah. All right. So, Miss Jerry, and we can't exactly answer this yet, but I'll go ahead and put the question up because I want to make a comment about this. So, Miss Jerry says, how much did the Bossier Term Limits Coalition spend on suing? Well, we don't really know yet, Miss Jerry. We haven't got the final bill, and it's not through the legal process yet. And yes, we might get lucky. Maybe we'll be able to recoup some of those lawyer fees and legal fees and all that, but who knows? So it's in the thousands.
Yeah, it's going to be a substantial number, and there will be a time when we get finished with this fight that we may try to help offset those costs. We may ask for people to make donations. We may do a GoFundMe or whatever. We're not at that point because we're not through fighting. Another conversation I had today, Rex, and this is twisting it up a little bit. Somebody was calling saying, I can't believe we won. I can't believe we beat them. We actually beat them. And the thing I said to them, I said, well, too many people, they expect these fights to be won overnight. They expect them to be won in one engagement or one fight. It's not how this works.
Right.
Look, this is years in the making.
It took nearly 6 years, 5 or 6 years, to pry Robert Berry out of the Cypress district. We're literally have 5 city councilmen who have been in office 20 years each, nearly 20 years, some of them more than that. And you think we're going to be able to pry them out overnight? I mean, the term limits saga has been going on for 2 years now. Almost exactly 2 years.
That's right. And yes, Jerry, CBB does buy their water from the city of Bossier, same as the city of Benton, but if the city of Bossier isn't careful and they don't take care of business, you could find other entities going out on their own and separating themselves from Bossier City. That's why it is of the utmost importance. I mean, let's all say it for what it is. Bossier City is the capital of Bossier Parish. It is.
Right.
Benton used to be in the old days. Bossier City is the capital of of Bossier Parish. And Bossier City has had a cancer that has been eating it from the inside. We're trying to treat it right now and get it back right. If Bossier City does well, Bossier Parish does well. And, if we're not careful, the cancer that is in Bossier City will spread to Bossier Parish. And in some instances, it already has. But once we correct it in the heart, we'll be able to see the rest of the parish prevail.
Right. So Jerry has another question. I'll put it up there. So is it misleading to say the BTL coalition cost the city attorney fees to defend the citizen's position? Look, everything that ends up costing legally costs the city, and thus all of the city taxpayers, whether you pay a sales tax, property tax, doesn't matter. Because they're fighting it, like the colonel just said, with OPM, other people's money. All of our money they're using to fight against us. And we're having to use our money collectively to try to fight to keep them from spending our money. It's like this vicious circle.
Yep, no doubt about it. So I see in the notes something about rules of decorum. What the heck are you talking about? Do we have rules of decorum on this show?
Well, I'm thinking about following the city's lead and instituting some rules of decorum. How about that, Mr. Lowry?
I'm not sure that's going to fly over well with this audience.
I'm going to start having you mute your phone before the show starts. No more dinging of your phone.
Well, I've already got it on mute before the start of the show, so I'm already meeting the rules of decorum. I guess you're not going to kick me out of the show.
All right. So I want to spend just a minute so everybody is crystal clear, because hopefully the next meeting will be an interesting set of commentary for the city council to hear again. But let's make sure that the rules of decorum, I'm doing my civic duty right now, Duke, so that we can help educate our public, the people that are watching. Here's the rules of decorum. Hold on.
In accordance with Louisiana open meetings laws and the adopted Bossier City Council meeting rules resolution, the City Council asks for order and decorum at our meetings. Please silence your cell phones.
See,
Anyone
there.
wishing to address the
Silence.
council on any agenda
None.
items may approach and state their names and address for the record, and shall be permitted 3 minutes to make their comments on the particular item that's up for discussion, with up to 4 speakers per side.
I want to stop right there. 4 speakers per side. I was going through the statutes today. I don't see anywhere where they can limit. I mean, there's nothing that prevents them from doing it, short of a lawsuit. But I don't see anywhere where they can limit the speakers per side. It says reasonable in the statutes. Reasonable limits. Doesn't mention limiting the number of people. So who defines reasonable?
Who determines what side you're on?
Exactly.
I remember
mean-
what is you? I mean, I think it was West Marriott. Somebody got up there. Hell, I don't know. It may have been me. I don't know. Somebody got
West
up there
did
and
it.
said,
West did it first.
Did he? Somebody got up there and said, "Well, I ain't determined what side I'm on yet."
Yeah. Remember, if you're making comments, folks, you can take that rule right there and flip it to be whichever side you want, and then we can have 8 people speak at a time. Use the rules against them. Learn to be creative.
Ooh.
All right, let's continue because we're only halfway through this.
Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, or who shall become boisterous while addressing the council.
All right, so I got to hold up right there because we've already seen examples of boisterous. Little Miss Alice and the Colonel. Very boisterous, very boisterous people.
I mean, Jeff Darby puts out this thing in support of Biden bringing all of the illegals into Bossier City. I mean, he wanted more of it, and that was slanderous to them. They wouldn't allow it to happen, and they kicked Alice Boyer out for calling it up.
But I think I'm going to do a public information request and get them to clearly define and delineate personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, because they consider addressing a city councilman by name. So if I say, Brian Hammonds voted this way, oh, that's personal.
Well, I mean, look, I got to know, do you think that it would be slanderous if at the next meeting, when they finally do take up the people's petition that they're mandated by the city charter, that if somebody gets up there and say that you committed malfeasance by not following the charter, is that, are they going to say that's slanderous?
Well, they're going to have to argue with 4 judges, or well, at least 3 on the appeals court. You know, and to be fair, Judge Parker self did not say they were malfeasant, but 3 judges on the appeals court all signed off on it. That they may have been. Words matter.
Well, I mean, what if somebody, I mean, I'm going to love this next council meeting, and the King, I hope you're there, and I hope you point of order and demand that these rules be read again. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, are you going to deny that you may have been or committed malfeasance in office, or that you may be in contempt of court? Because you know what? If you can't convince the bond commission to put this on the March ballot or May ballot, I mean, you're delaying calling a special meeting. I mean, I don't understand. Please explain it to me. Explain to the public. I think they want to know.
Well, I mean, is he going to argue with reading it from the appeals court decision? Is he going to argue that the appellate judges didn't call them possibly may be committing malfeasance? And I got to point out, got to love Miss Alice. I put the comments up there. She said, I didn't do any of those. Well, maybe I was boisterous.
I think he's going to argue that they have the right to silence anyone from saying something that they don't like. I think it
they
boils
just forget
down
about
to that.
And you know why they get by with it? Because nobody has sued them on it, which again takes money, folks. It is not free to file a lawsuit.
But you know what? You may not have the money to sue them and to call them, but what you can do is those things just below your nose and that thing in your mouth that causes air to flow across a couple of cords that speak. You can give them all the attention that they need to people in Bossier City, because they all want you to enable them to continue to silence the public and enable them to have control over your lives, to pick winners and losers, and to be able to use your tax proceeds to put their thumb on you in any way that they want to do that. And that includes Vince Maggio. It isn't just Jeff Darby, Jeff Free, David Montgomery, Bubba Williams. It includes Vince Maggio. He had a choice, and
Anybody
he
that
made his
falls for
choice.
peer pressure is not good.
I can pull the video. Remember Rex? He said in one meeting, he said, "I stand with y'all." Remember that?
Yeah.
He said it.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Forthwith by the President Pro Tem, barred from further audience before the council, unless permission to continue be granted by a majority vote of the council. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body and not to any member thereof. No question shall be asked a councilperson or the mayor except through the meeting chair. All other audience members are asked to observe the meeting quietly. City Council has appointed the city marshals as the sergeant at arms, and they have been instructed to maintain decorum and ask anyone in violation to step out of the meeting.
There you have it, folks. I'm going to post that again, doing our civic duty to let you know what handcuffs are upon you when you're at the city council meeting.
The city marshal's office, you mean the council's personal Gestapo?
Basically, yes.
Which is interesting because I sat right beside them at the little thing for at the Republican Women of Bossier.
Really? Oh, yes, sat by Mr. Whitman, huh?
You know, I used to like them a lot. I really did, and I thought, but I thought to myself, I'm going to say this. It's on live TV, so you know what? They're going to hear this. I used to think to myself that they were good people, but they made a choice. They made a choice to throw in, and I've never went here, but they have, as I understand it, as what was conveyed to me, they've received the benefits of government at the expense of the public, and then want to have their cake and eat it too. And I would love to have that conversation with them, for them to say that that's not true, and say that the information that we have is a lie, and to say that what has been shared with us, that has been shared with other law enforcement about things that have taken place, is not true. I would love to have that conversation.
I would agree. So Miss Jerry asked, is there a West Marriott suit filed against the city? Maybe give everybody a quick update in the comments if you can, Wes, or maybe we'll have you on next week or something. You can give us an update on, what you can about it.
I can tell you what it's not. He damn sure can't get the cell phone records of David Montgomery. He's just not bad enough son of a bitch to do it.
Yeah, he's just out of luck. All right. So why am I showing the city of Jefferson, Texas, little old Jefferson, Texas? Why am I showing their meeting agenda or the beginning?
I've got a feeling you're going to tell us, so roll on with it.
Well, it's pretty simple. You see down here where I have it highlighted in yellow and red, while let me try that again. While civil public criticism is not prohibited, disorderly conduct or disturbance of the peace as prohibited by law shall be cause for the chair to terminate the offender's time to speak. Their rules are pretty simple, and I have to say, I was watching their live stream, which is terrible, by the way, but watching their live stream, and they had a whole list of people that showed up to talk about this water ordeal. The water ordeal from out of Lake of the Pines before it gets to Caddo, going over to Dallas, was not even on the agenda, but they were going down the list, giving everybody their 3 minutes. As a matter of fact, it was either the mayor or the chairman made the comment, we're probably going to be here till 10 o'clock tonight. So I just want to point out that little old city of Jefferson can get this right, but not the big old metropolis of Bossier City. Now, they do say the Jefferson City Council may ask questions. This is the council, but shall not discuss items that are not on the agenda. Again, they do it the right way. I've told the city council before, they don't have to respond to questions or comments. If they were smart, but they're not because they're pretty much stupid morons, but if they were smart, they would just let everybody have their 3 minutes and move on and go to the next speaker. Don't even address it. But no, they're not that intelligent. They're really, really, truly not. All right.
Agree.
Soapbox over for that. I'm done. I'm done.
Well, look, I want to go back and I want to clean something up. Last week, so Proton Mail's been lit. Proton Mail has been sharing lately, and I love it. People feed the information. And you know what? If you share it with us, we're going to go down that road. We're going to kick the ant pile. We're going to try to find what we do. So Proton Mail shared with us, and we kind of put it out there last week, trying to kick the ant pile a little bit and glean a little information regarding it. And I think this one is still a work in process, but the last show, Rex, and I kicked it out there about Lewis Johnson. Remember that?
Well,
maybe
so
a little bit.
A little bit. I can't remember. I didn't go back and review exactly what we said. Oddly enough, we can't remember everything that we say, folks, over the course of 2 or 3 hours every week.
Well, if you remember correctly,
but
somebody
it was put out there. Well, it was put out there that somebody from the city had approached a local business around the live casino about purchasing it, the city purchasing it. And I looked at that. I think I did.
Well, and I'm going to go a step further, and it was alluded that it was Lewis Johnson, the spokesperson for the city. Well, what I can tell you is I followed up on that allegation this week, and I point blank asked Lewis Johnson. I said, it has been alleged to us that, you on behalf of the city were soliciting the purchase of commercial property near live casino on behalf of the city. And to which he explained to me that is unequivocally false. That is not true. He did not do such of a thing. And,
I'll have to reach out. Well, I don't know if I can find who the person is. Anyway, maybe we'll figure out if they have a camera system. Wouldn't that be interesting? Anyway, all right. So to clear that up, Lewis says that at least Lewis, on behalf of the city, now, did he say he hasn't done it, or he said the city has not?
He said he hasn't done it. Because that was what it was alleged, was that he did it. And, I mean, point blank confronted him about it, and he said that's a no-go.
Yeah, we need to find out if Miss Rena over there, if they have water yet. Miss Rena, I know you usually watch the show after the fact. If you're not watching it live, let us know if you got water yet. Shoot me a text message. Okay. So that clears that up. All right, now shall we hit the sheriff's office first, or let's move on and get into the police jury, because that's going to take a little bit.
Well, the sheriff's office, we were talking about Proton Mail, and we got some more Proton Mail. Actually, we've gotten several Proton Mails over the Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office and the Training Academy.
Right.
I know you saw it, and I know I saw it. But I did a little homework. I did a little digging. I know a few people around town.
Let's set the stage first. This person that sent it, from the wording of the Proton Mail, they use the word "we," so it sounds like the person, we can't confirm that because we literally don't know what's in it, works for the sheriff's office, and they mention the whistleblower deal. So it sounds like somebody's trying to do this under a whistleblower type thing. So with that said, you made a few contacts, and what did you find out?
Yeah, so we're getting these emails, and people are telling us, and basically the long and short of it is that so a lot of y'all, there's this thing called post certification. And that's a minimum standard for a police officer, in training, in firearms instruction. They have to be able to shoot, pass qualification. There's a minimum level of things that you have to do to be able to be certified to be a police officer. So, you've got like Bossier City. I went through the post certification. Murray Wells did my training, certified me. He was a certified post training officer for Bossier City back in the day. And the parish, they do their own training. They have a training academy and they have had a class. Well, apparently something happened and all of their certified instructors were gone. And I don't know this part, whether the class kept going or whatever, but there seemed to be some problems about it. And whoever was sending us the emails was pointing out the problems regarding the class proceeding without any certified post certified instructors. So did a little checking, and there appears to be a little more to the story. And I'm just going to tell y'all what we gleaned. And what we gleaned was that you had certified instructors out there. You had people who were going through the training. There was apparently an employee who was not post certified that was going out there in the training class. A lot of people may find shock in this, Rex. As being a former city employee, or I hate to say government employee, I don't find this shocking at all. But to those of you that have not been a government employee, anyway, they left their keys in their car. They showed up for training out there one day. They left this person going through training left their keys in their car.
Well, but in that shooting range and training facility, like kind of way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's out there like going to plane dealing out there where the P farm is, and
so
don't eat the bologna sandwiches.
Right.
But anyway, so they leave their keys in their car, right? Mm-hmm. Well, somehow, some way, somebody notices that they left this trainee leaves their keys in their car. Well, what do? They get in the car and they drive the car off and hide the car. The trainee determines that my car's been stolen at the sheriff's office training center. And ultimately, I don't know, as the story I'm told, is that they learned that they were basically a joke was played on them. Well, they file a complaint with the sheriff. The sheriff goes to investigating. I guess they have their internal affairs get involved. And as it would turn out, they determined that the people that were maybe had knowledge or whatever ended up being the instructional staff. I don't 100% know. I'm only getting bits and pieces of the story. But the sheriff apparently took this serious. And the next thing you know, the staff out there is being dispersed, as I understand it, they're no longer training. They become a fixture in the jail. They're getting relocated. And now, if you've never worked in a jail, I would contend that that's probably the most miserable job that you could have. I mean, you don't know the number of cuss words and derogatory descriptions that you will hear of yourself in a day, and to have to go, especially if you got family, or to go home in a day, I couldn't wish that on my worst enemy, how bad it is. I hadn't been in jail. I have been in jail, but I haven't been in jail like in trouble. That's another story entirely. But what I'm telling you is horrible. It's miserable. And to go from being in a perch to being put into a position like that is you're basically getting your wings cut. And I'm told that's what happened. People got their wings cut. They got their feelings hurt. And it was over all of this. But the thing is, there's more to this than just that. It's being said
It was in the
It's being
comments.
it's being said that apparently there are people who may or may not should be post certified. Like, so to pass post certification, you need to be able to you got to be able to shoot, and you got to make a minimum score.
Right.
And if you can't see, or you have a problem with your vision and you can't shoot, you're not going to pass the test. It is alleged that there are administrative staff who can't shoot, who can't pass the test, that even are to the point of having to have drivers to drive them around because they can't drive, that are post certified.
Well, I'm all for everybody being able to own firearms. Well, 99.9% of everybody own firearms, being able to shoot. You know, heck, I'm even for folks that are vision impaired or blind, being able to practice shooting sports, obviously under supervision and with help. But I think it's pretty important that you be able to pass these basic shooting certifications if you're going to be a law enforcement officer. I mean, seems like common sense.
Well, you know, I don't know. I mean, look, the emails, the anonymous emails that we have gotten. I mean, obviously they're going to come from people who are disgruntled, and when you're disgruntled, you're going to spill all the dirty laundry. It pains me to have to tell these stories, and you know, look, but the thing is if your administration, uh, you're supposed to set the tone for everybody else underneath you. And if you have a problem that prevents you from being able to get post certified, and your condition is such that you have to have a driver to drive you around, that's the story to me.
Right.
That's
Well,
not acceptable.
yeah,
That's not acceptable.
I mean, the prank with the car, I guess, you know, hey, guys and gals, y'all are in a professional environment. You're burning
I
my
had that.
taxpayer dollars.
I had that
Don't.
done to me at the fire department. I
I was going to say,
literally had the exact same thing done to me at the fire department in Bossier City.
yeah, I mean,
I didn't file any police report. I didn't
yeah,
file a complaint.
my soapbox would be, hey, you're supposed to be professionals, professional training. You're on the taxpayer dime. Don't do it while you're on the taxpayer dime. If you're just out shooting at the range, who cares? On the flip side to that, should it be to the level of a bunch of people getting in trouble if the car was not damaged and was returned to the person? Hell no, don't be a Karen.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Well,
now I want to clear up because
I don't know that we know all the details.
Right.
I don't know that we all know all the details,
Right.
but I would be shocked I would be shocked if I didn't know or didn't learn that there were other things, going on. I mean, I'm just saying, I feel like there's probably other stuff that we don't know about, but it was what was shared with us with Proton Mail. I was able to follow up and confirm that there were some things that had taken place, and I don't know whether truth lies in the rest of it.
Right. All right. Sorry about that. I swallowed the water wrong. So I want to clear up because I did put Jeff's comment up there where he says you can name me. I don't think we have no way of knowing if Jeff was the author of the Proton Mail, but to be clear, and Jeff, you can correct me in the comments, I think Jeff was the one who was giving the official version of what happened to clear up some of the questions. Is that fair to say? Hello, can you hear me? Well, hopefully I'm still online. So, yeah, I see comments coming up. So let's see if Duke comes back in here in just a minute, or he may have just, well, maybe the sheriff's department showed up and just, oh, you're back. You got cuffs on you?
Back. I don't know. We ain't had our gremlins pop in a long time.
Yeah, so I don't know if you caught that. But anyway, I was just sharing to clarify that Jeff, I don't think, was saying that he was the one that sent the proton mail. He was the one that was clarifying what actually happened at the shooting range. I think would be fair to say. Yes, Jeff says not the author. Okay. So just wanted to make that clear.
Right. So anyway, look, we put that out there. I mean, not trying to cause grief, but if you're going to wear a badge and you're going to be a law enforcement officer, you need to be able to pass the post certification. And look, I'm going to tell you from personal experience, it's not for some people it is easy, but it's not that easy to pass. At least the shooting anyway. I'll
Right.
give you a personal experience, and I told you this story earlier. Thought it was kind of funny. I mean, I am not that good a shot with a handgun. I am not that good a shot with a handgun. But what I will tell you is that when I did my post certification, there was this one guy, and I like him. He's a nice guy. He really is. I mean, he's as nice as they come along, but he was very confident in his shooting. Very, very confident. And when they do the post certification, you all get up there on the line at the same time, and it's timed. Everything is measured. Well, and this guy was right beside me, and like he was no doubt he was the best marksman out there, and he had a little swagger about him about it too. And I struggled, and it bothered me that he had so much arrogance about it. He knew he was good. So we go to shooting, and once I knew that I had the prerequisite number or score, well, I'll admit he had a stray bullet on his target. and he's sitting over there, and I'm sitting here, and I'm just enjoying the hell out of it because he's sitting there and he's like, I don't remember pulling that bullet. How did I do that? He's sitting there, he's just all distraught because all of a sudden he's not perfect. He's got this bullet stray on his target. He's sitting there scratching his head. How the hell did I do that? I don't remember doing it. What did I do? He's like losing his crap. And of course it affected his score. The instructor goes up there and starts counting all the bullet holes. The instructor figures it out. The instructor looked over at me and kind of got a little shit-eating grin on his face, and I couldn't take it. I turned away and walked away. I put a bullet in his target just to screw him up, and it was glorious.
That's hilarious. All right. Speaking of which, that reminds me, I haven't squeezed the trigger on any of my guns in quite a while. I need to go do that. Sling some lead. All right, so that takes care of the sheriff's department. Now let's get over to, I guess, the police jury. Are we ready to tackle Patrick Jackson and the boys over there?
Well, look, Patrick has firm control over the Bossier Parish Police Jury, and I don't think anyone should think otherwise. I mean, he runs that show. He is the Jimmy Hall of the police jury. I think he would find that to be a flattering comment. I don't think that would be an insult to him. Saw Jimmy Hall at Sam's here recently, and getting a little long in the tooth, it seemed like. But hey, police jury, yeah. Butch Ford, heralded 20 years of service with the Bossier Parish Police Jury.
Oh joy, old Butch with the dual residence.
What I miss?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Oh, I was just talking.
Oh, I clicked the button and then you're like, what did I miss? I was like, oh no, Gremlins again.
Ain't that what we do? We just talk?
Yeah, talk just like a couple of amateurs. We've been doing it for a long time.
I'm just yapping, trying to fill my role.
All right, so let's see. So I've got the city council meeting up here, pulled up, and look,
city council.
I mean not city council, police jury. So
I was going to say I thought we was going to do police jury, but if you want to do city council,
oh no, I'm sick of the city council for a while. But I will give the police jury credit. They have finally upped their audio and video game. Now, it's like watching, what was that game, that game show where it had the squares on it? Hollywood Squares. It's like watching an episode of Hollywood Squares, but at least they got good audio now.
God, you're so old.
Knowing Hollywood Squares? The $64,000 pyramid?
You're so ancient. Damn.
Well, my favorite one, although not as dated as those, was the Whammies.
No, it's not even that. Okay, everybody in the comments, who watches game shows anymore?
I don't watch them now.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, it sounds like you're watching reruns. I mean, that's even worse.
No, but I did watch a documentary on the guy that perfected the pattern on the Whammies and won like a lot of money on it, and they couldn't figure out how he was doing it. You ought to watch this documentary. It's crazy. Anyway.
What the hell is the Whammies? I don't even know what the Whammies are.
You just have to Google it or go to YouTube. Type it in. I'll send you the link.
I've never heard of the Whammies.
This guy's genius. Anyway, but I digress. So, speaking of game shows, what happened at the police jury? I mean, did they do anything good, bad, and different? What was the deal? I know they got...
Y'all are going to be shocked. Y'all are going to be shocked. Okay. And I may come back to regret this. Y'all may be feeding crow up to me. I don't think so. In fact, I will still take my wallet right now and bet against all of you. But I think the police jury, this council meeting, did the single best thing for Bossier Parish that I can remember them doing.
Wait. Do we need to rename this show?
I don't know what the hell you'll rename it to, but
shall we change our mission statement? Oh, we're going to show you all the flower gardens and how great and hunky-dory everything is in Bossier Parish.
I have to give credit where credit is due, and I think this police jury did the best thing that they have done for Bossier Parish that I can remember.
Okay, so Val Baker says they put Gaspard in for the Brotherton job.
And that's not it.
That's not it. Okay. Although we'll show that. But yeah.
Okay.
Kim Gaspard is now the interim or whatever you call it, police juror for Bob Brotherton, who passed away. All right.
Yep. I'm sorry. I joined live review. So if you want to put me in control, I can be in control here.
Yeah. Let me start live review. You got it.
All right. So, they did the nominations for officers, and they made oh crap. I can't remember his name. What? How is that possible? Retired Shreveport fireman, builder, made him the chairman, and you got Ken or Salzer sitting right there beside him, holding his hand the whole time. It's like, I don't know why. He's been the president before, but he was a little shaky during this meeting.
Yeah. The princess resigned.
No,
unfortunately not. We would be rejoicing, singing "Ding Dong, the witch is dead." But anyway.
Yeah. So at this meeting, there was a lot of things took place at this meeting, Rex, and we know Bob Brotherton. Bob Brotherton was a longtime Halton person. He was a coach, Halton High School for football, respected in the community. I knew Bob Brotherton in a different way than most people knew Bob Brotherton. Bob Brotherton had the best duck hunting blind on Lake Bissano. He had a blind down by Peggy's Island. You being a fishing guy, you probably know where Peggy's Island is.
Yes, sir.
And used to be a pit blind out there that he killed more ducks out of that pit blind than anybody I know. Loved and was passionate, brought a lot of people to the outdoors, something that most people, may or may not know about him, but he was passionate about the outdoors. I mean, he was a good guy. He wanted to see things different. I hate that he got caught up in that vicious cycle of being in politics and government too long. I think he got to a point to where he was just hanging on up there, and he was nothing more than a rubber stamp for somebody. Who knows for who.
Right.
I hate that he was used in that way, because I respected the guy.
Yeah,
But
a couple of times I met him and had to deal with him. Super nice guy, you know. I mean, I don't really know anything negative to say other than, yeah, getting caught up sometimes in the politics of it. But so anyway, all right. So they appointed Kim Gaspard or Gaspard. I forget how he pronounces that. Anyway, former Mayor Halton.
Yeah, former Mayor Halton. He was I mean, you could call this a school board op because he was a former coach as well too. You've got the school board people are trying to take over the police jury, and I don't
Isn't that
know.
ironic? The police jury was taking over the library. Now the school board's taking over the police jury. Does that mean the school board's taking over the library too? Anyway, so confusing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
rambling.
And anyway, and so they're going to appoint the replacement of Juror Benton, and it's Kim Gaspard, and they cited this thing. It's debatable amongst people as to whether this was right, wrong. If you remember with the Juliana Parks thing, they took names and consideration. But in this case, they didn't even hesitate. They didn't put anything out there that will accept nominations or accept applications or anything like that. They just said, to hell with it. We're going to put who we want to do in there. And
well, I mean, legally, I think they can do that. I don't think there's anything that prevents them. I mean, arguably, ethically or morally, should they have a little more pomp and circumstance? Yes, but
well, you know what? Let's cut to the chase. They're going to put who the hell they want to put in there anyway.
Right. Whether they have the dog and pony show or not. Right.
Why go through all that and just freaking do it? Just
right. Well, Val Baker says the family wanted him to take his place.
You know what? Whatever they need to say, whatever they need to do, just do what you're going to do. Save everybody the heartache. And they did it. So you know what? I got no gripe. Right. I'm not going to complain here. What I was going to point out, and I put in here and I noted, they talked about how that this would be a special election to be called in October. But the truth of the matter is the 21st, they could have the resolution to the bond commission and have an election in May.
Oh, but why not let him just serve till October?
Well, but the thing is if there were multiple candidates, and that's the question, if there was multiple candidates, you couldn't have a runoff election. I mean, but this is a special election. But if they wanted to, they could send a resolution to the bond commission.
Well,
they could have. They had to, unlike Bossier City.
I mean, can't they pick another special election date or refresh my memory because it's been a little bit?
It'll be the next soonest election.
I know, but I'm saying if they had something come up, well, okay. I need to look into that. Never mind. Squirrel moment.
So moving forward to the next most important, they named Kim Gaspard to replace Bob Brotherton. To the thing that they did that is probably the most consequential thing that they have done was the appointment of a new parish administrator. And let's play that part at the 1734 mark. Here we go.
Okay, we have appointment of parish administrator for a one-year term.
Have a motion by Mr. Jordan and a second by Mr. Salter to appoint who? Mr. Salter.
Who you think we ought to appoint?
Yeah. Mr. Ken Ward has been nominated. Any comments from the jurors? Any comments from the audience?
I think it's a good idea.
Please vote.
The only comment is good luck.
Yeah. Congratulations, Mr. Ward.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah, go ahead and say
Ken,
something.
why don't you say a few things and
Make it
let's get your
short.
family up here for a photo. Yeah.
Listen to this.
First of all, I appreciate it. I've known quite a few for a long time. We worked together in my previous And then the last 8 months has been nothing but, I tell everybody I feel like I'm at home. To be able to put efforts into my parish is a wonderful thing to do, as you know. So I do appreciate it. I look forward to working with each one of you. Pretty much all I like to say now is now let's get to work, right? Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Hey, Ken.
Okay.
So
now, wasn't that
good or
short,
bad?
brief, and wasn't that short, brief, and humble?
Yeah, it was refreshingly short.
So what is it about this guy? What makes this guy, and why would I go all in to say this is the best thing that the police jury has done for Bossier Parish in forever?
Oh, I know. Pick me, pick me, pick me.
Okay, I'm picking you. You tell me why.
Well, the first thing, is there any controversy over where he lives and claims homestead exemption?
No, he lives in Bossier Parish. Has
There we
forever.
go. There we go.
Graduated Halton High School. He's a Bossier boy.
Don't even care if he's an engineer. There we go. It's already automatically better.
Well, let me take you, Rex. Let me take you for a walk down memory lane. And let me take the rest of our audience for a walk down memory lane. Do you remember the race?
The bridges.
Do you remember that?
Yes, the race between the Caddo Bridge and this other bridge that they happen to be building up in Bossier Parish.
Remember, we compared two projects, because we were doing public information requests to the state, and we were chasing some stuff down, and there were multiple projects when we were digging into that. There was a project, there just happened to be a project in Caddo Parish and a project that was going in Bossier Parish that were happening at the exact same time. Their start dates were almost identical. The bridges were almost identical. And I know that well, and we called it the race. We were comparing the two projects, and I know that that Caddo Parish just beat the hell out of Bossier. They stomped a mud hole in us. And do you know why they stomped a mud hole in us?
Because the guy wasn't confused. The guy that was leading the project wasn't confused about where he lived.
He wasn't confused about where he lived, but he had the bull by the horns. And the guy that had the bull by the horns was this guy right here that you see, Ken Ward. He was the Caddo Parish engineer that was in charge of that project at the time when Bossier was doing the fiasco that we had over here that took so long. And the point being is that this guy has been around the block. This guy, he is about saving money and making government more efficient. Caddo Parish, has suffered a loss in this guy coming from Caddo Parish to Bossier. Bossier has made a tremendous gain. And the only thing that I could have thought that would be better is if Bossier City would have been wise enough to pick this guy up from Caddo to bring over here. Because he's been around, he knows what's up. And
right. So Val Baker says he's a gob guy too.
Well, no, he's not a political wonk, Val. That is inaccurate. He's not, but he does know how to get the projects done. He does know how to move the needle. That's what I would say.
Yes. Yeah,
and
there was zero doubt in the race between the Caddo Bridge, and I didn't pull those show numbers, but you can go back and look. It was, what was it? When did they? Well, we've been doing the show 4 years now, so it's probably about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Yeah,
it was months. Right. I mean, Caddo Parish kicked Bossier's butt months, and it was because of this guy.
The bridge going over the Black Bayou Bridge.
Yeah. Now look, everybody is susceptible to fall into the grips of the good old boys. They are. I don't think Ken Ward is that guy. I really don't see that at all. I think he will right the ship in Bossier if the ship You know, there are things that needs writing without a doubt in Bossier.
Right.
Is Ken Ward a good old boy? No, I don't think he is a good old boy at all.
All
He's
right.
coming from Caddo.
And to clarify, Val said, I just put the comment up, Val said he meant Mr. Gaspard.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Ken Ward's not that guy.
Right.
Don't put he loves Bossier. He graduated Halton High School. I don't know. I got to tell you what the paradox for me is. The paradox for me is how the hell did the Bossier Parish Police Jury get one right? I don't. That's my. How did they get this one right?
Riddle me this though. Butch Ford was not the parish administrator for that long, was he?
What did it?
I mean, he was a parish engineer for however many years, but didn't he just get appointed to the parish administrator not too long ago? Or am I crazy?
No, it was. It was only for 1 or 2 years, you know, despite where his residency actually was. But, you know, on a lot of these government retirement systems, and I can tell you, just even mine, I admittedly, I retired from the Bossier City Fire Department. I make no reservations about that. And my retirement is based off of my highest 3 years of salary, which were the last 3 years of my service. So Butch Ford being I'm sure that his being a state retirement system thing, it was based off of his last 3 years. I may be wrong on that. You know, and that brings another proton mail into this because Rex, at some point here recently, and I've got to go back and find it, but we got a proton mail that told us to look into Butch Ford's severance package. And
I remember something about that. We got to find that message.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, what was disclosed to us in that proton mail seems extreme to me. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it, but we'll share it with all of y'all. The proton mail said that Butch Ford was retiring and was going to be getting $13,000 a month. Now, if that's I find it hard. I find that hard to believe, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you prove or disprove that exactly. I don't know.
Well,
but if
look, I can tell you this. I know that the salaries, I would assume the retirement payout of public employees is public record. Now, they may fight us on trying to get it. To clarify, I'm not sure on the retirement part of it, but I know for a fact we can request the salaries and pay of any public employee.
Well, I think anybody would agree that if that is accurate, 13,000 a month, something is very, very wrong.
I'm retired too.
But moving on, this Bossier Parish Police Jury meeting, there was more to it than just this so far. Remember the toll bridge in South Bossier?
Yeah, I don't think that's started. Maybe they're still acquiring right-of-ways, or I don't know what the status of it is.
Well, have y'all wondered who the hell would build a toll bridge? Have you ever wondered that?
Trap going across the bridge.
Well, let's let everybody see what type of person would build a toll bridge, at their expense. What kind of person would do that? Well, Here you go.
Motion passed.
Okay. We have Mr. Tim James on an update regarding the toll bridge project in South Bossier Parish.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Tim.
This is my first time. And Eric called a few months ago, and I wanted to myself come when we did the original CEA. I think Will Bradford, some of my.
Okay, that's enough. He's from Alabama, and
I was going to say, I wonder if he's related to Randy James, but probably not.
No, he's from Alabama. He brags about it, and his kids all went to Ole Miss. Blah blah blah. He got a little bit of a swagger. There you go. That's the guy doing the toll bridge.
Well, hey, I've heard a lot of people say that they wouldn't mind paying the toll just to cut off the Shreveport traffic going south.
Yeah, so the guy had a little bit of a swagger. Did he seem like a bad guy? I don't know. I mean, he's spending his own money. He's doing that thing.
Did you know that a lot of roads in the U.S. back in the late 1800s, early 1900s were actually toll roads?
It's funny you say that because this guy points exactly that out when he receives a question from the audience at the end. Right here, listen to this.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I hadn't heard
Kathy,
this.
I live at 232 Bod Call Loop, Bossier off Sligo Road. I just had a couple of questions. The toll bridge, how long will the toll be on the bridge? Is it a temporary thing? Is it forever? Is it perpetual?
It's a forever thing.
Okay, so once the bridge is paid for, y'all make a profit, the toll remains.
We could do that if somebody would guarantee us a profit.
Yeah.
We think of us as a shopping center. We're private. This is private business, just like a shopping center. We go out, we buy the land, we buy all the right of way, spend $100 million to build it and hope we're right. Just like any other business. We're no different than, it takes a little getting used to when you think, well, this is a toll road. This is roads and infrastructure. But this business is as old as the country is itself. It's at the beginning of this country, those farmers in the Ohio Valley who own those big farms would build roads and charge people to use it. So that's the business that we're in.
The reason I ask is some bridges and toll roads, the tolls go away after a certain amount of time. I was just curious.
Right. And that would be very normal a lot of times on state bond issues and things like that. But we are private people.
Right. And I agree. Anybody that's crazy enough to be in business for themselves deserves to succeed.
Right.
Second question.
So, I mean, there it was. I mean, the guy said it. This is old as the 1800s.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I forget when the whole transition to non-toll roads. I mean, you still got some toll roads, across various states, of course, but I forget when all that took place. But yeah. So riddle me this, because we did the whole history on Shed Road. Was Shed Road a toll road?
I don't know if it was a toll road or not. That's a good question.
The magic of Google.
Well, so this wasn't the only thing. You got an update on the toll bridge. Apparently, that's still in progress. Those guys are there. There was another question regarding wetlands, and they got the KSA engineer group out of Longview, Texas to speak, and they were talking about how they're trying to avoid going through 500 acres or something to that effect of some wetlands down there, and they're thinking that they're not going to go through any wetlands or have to have any kind of abatement or whatever. But you also had, and this is where when we talked about earlier, remember the other show when we had our friends with the problem with the house and the bank and the
yes, the McCormicks.
System. Not the McCormicks. No.
There was another problem.
The McCormicks are the deal with the police jury, and it's the McCormicks deal. Is with the Louisiana Supreme Court now, and the police jury are trying to...
Yeah, it's still ongoing. Still costing taxpayer dollars.
Trying to screw the McCormicks, and anyway, the police jury is doing that. And it's actually of significance, and we really need to highlight that because it affects everybody, not just in Bossier Parish, but across the whole state of Louisiana. It's a big deal, and we would go in depth on it more, but it needs more focus than it needs a lot more concentration on it, and people got to pay attention to it. It's a big deal,
right?
But what I'm talking about is Cynthia Carroll points out the Peters deal in Halton, and
he just came by today. As a matter of fact,
we had them on the show, And remember, we talked about in that show Travis Beatty, and Travis Beatty being on the MPC, and he recently resigned. Well, at this police jury meeting, they were replacing Travis Beatty. And let's just kind of play this and let's see how this goes.
Just to want to do
Motion passed.
Now you gotta vote on it.
Now, I'd like to have a motion on item 29, which was swapped around. You want to read it?
Do we need to hear from anybody or just look for a motion?
She's going to read it.
Okay, item number 29, consider appointment to the Bossier City Parish MPC Zoning Board to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Mr. Travis Beatty, term to expire April 1st, 2026.
How many applications do we have?
They're in your 7. We have 7.
They're in your packet.
Okay, so they had 7 applications, and they start going through every one of them, and they have the guy that spoke earlier asking a question to the toll road bridge guy, the guy in the red shirt. His name was Clayton Cathy. As it would turn out, he is a petroleum geologist. Guy, look, don't let me say it. Listen. Let's let him say it.
Yes, sir. Would you come up and tell us a little bit about yourself? Sure. And first off, what I want to say also is we will make a selection on this, and then whoever doesn't get it, then we have a board of adjustments. We'd like to ask one of you to also run for that position. That's why we're doing it like this.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My name's Clayton Cathy. I live in South Bossier on Sligo Road. I'm an independent petroleum geologist. I graduated Centenary College in '91, and I became an independent oil explorer in '91. I've been on my own ever since. I have 5 employees. I have to make payroll. I own quite a bit of land in Bossier and Webster, well, in the state of Louisiana. I try to do everything I can in the right way, and I think that we need to do something to prevent the exploding growth in Bossier from getting out of control. I think it'd be wise to slow down and take a look at our infrastructure needs, things like that. I think there's a lot that can be done.
Yeah.
And I think maybe
Listen
a geologist
close
somebody's familiar with subsurface.
to what
could
our
do
old good
some
friend
with
Doug
it.
Rimmer says here in a minute.
Are there any questions that I can answer?
Are there any questions, Mr. Cathy? Okay.
Were you aware that we are in the strategic pause phase right now?
No, sir.
To do just what you're saying, to get a good handle
Really?
and plan for our growth.
North Bossier Parish.
Is that
What?
right?
In North Bossier Parish.
I thought it was parish-wide.
Did you hear that?
Strategic pause. Well, that should make the job pretty easy. Ain't got to do nothing. Just hang out around. Just show up a few meetings.
Well, but here's my question. If we're in a strategic pause, why has the police jury been so hell-bent on the sewer district?
Well, that's a good question. You could hear a pin drop at the moment.
And it's just North Bossier.
Look, let's face it. I mean, there is explosive growth in North Bossier. There's not a lot of growth in South Bossier, except the one area that the city just annexed, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, Clayton Cathy, petroleum geologist. So let's see who's up next.
Where have I heard his name before, though?
Clayton Cathy. It may not be the same people you're thinking, maybe.
Okay.
You're probably thinking of Stuart Cathy. He was the founder of Chick-fil-A. I mean, you're getting hungry.
That's probably so. Okay.
We've only been at it 2 hours and 20 minutes. So stand by. You're going to recognize this name.
Okay.
Mr. Chris Turner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Chris Turner. I'm from Halton, Louisiana. Graduate of Halton High School, grew up in Halton, LSUS grad, Bipsy grad, former Louisiana State Trooper, and a retired U.S. Marshal. I'm also a small business owner on Highway 80 in Halton. Development of our parish is very important to me. I want to see Bossier grow, but grow in the right way. As you all know, I think we're the fastest growing parish north of I-10 in the state of Louisiana. And I think we need people watching out for our growth and to make sure that it's done in the right way. And I would like to serve on the MPC to be a voice for the police jury and for the parish to make sure that's done in a responsible manner. Any questions from me?
I recognize that guy.
Yeah, he's been on our show. He ran for the legislature
Right.
against Dodie Horton. And, anyway, in all fairness, well, anyway, I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Well, I think you'll recognize this next person. Now, there's a couple other names in there, that had their names in the hat and they weren't considered. But this next one, you're going to remember this next one, Rex.
Oh, here we go. Drum roll, please.
Good afternoon. Robert
I recognize
Berry,
the voice.
125, Carondelet, Bossier City, Louisiana. Appreciate the offer to put an application in for one position or two, whatever y'all are going to accept. Had plenty of experience over the last 10 years working with the MPC on different projects and stuff that pertain to them. Worked very closely with them, had no issues. Also worked closely in 2014 with FEMA on the watershed of both of the lakes and the impact that it had on the inner city, not only of Bossier City, but then down south in Bossier. So work closely with those and know about the growth and
How much more do you want to hear?
And also you got concerns
It's
with the
like
growth and flooding.
the Charlie
and stuff.
Brown
And so,
teacher.
like I say, it's a big
Wah,
issue that,
wah,
not only the city, but
so-
the parish both have to look at. So like
I would
say,
be.
thanks
hold
for
on.
the consideration and thank y'all for considering.
I hit the stop button, but he just wouldn't stop.
Yeah, that's okay. I would be remiss if I didn't point out, being the smartass that I am, that he mentioned it was for one or two positions or whatever they want. I mean, the whole dual office holding thing. For those of you that are new to the show, this is who we were referring to earlier and in plenty of episodes past about the dual office holding, and it took 6 years to pry him out of those positions.
Yeah, it takes a while. So how do you think it all turned out? I'm just wondering, what do y'all think? How do y'all think it all turned out? And if you watch the police jury meeting, you can't comment. Don't comment. Only if you didn't watch the meeting can you comment. How do you think this? Who do you think won?
Let's see. Clayton Cathy. I hadn't watched the meeting. Full disclosure, I've not watched it.
That's right. You haven't, have you?
No,
Okay,
I hadn't.
You're going with the petroleum engineer.
I'm
okay?
going with the petroleum guy.
Chief cook bottle washer. Well, I don't know which one that is, Rusty. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not seeing no guesses from people. Nobody's wanting to put their name out there and say who they thought got it. So,
Although I have to say, there's a small part of me that hopes that they chose Robert Berry.
Yeah, well, Alice Boyer may have watched. Well, listen to this. Listen to how they do this vote. This is pretty cool. Okay, listen.
I have a second by Mr. Salter. Do you need anything, Megan? Okay, at this time, if you're voting for Mr. Davis, press.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cathy. If you're voting for Mr. Cathy, press the yes button.
What?
If you're voting for Mr. Turner, press the no button. That makes
And they just skipped over Robert Berry?
Yeah. Mine says yes and no.
Well, they
Wait.
took
What color?
what they did.
Two,
What they
three.
did. No, wait a minute. They took nominations, and if you didn't get a nomination, you didn't even get in the race. Well, the only ones that was nominated was Cathy and Turner.
Oh, we must have missed. I was thinking they did the
And-
whole Viva Voce thing again.
If you want Turner, vote no. So they all voted no against Turner. And he's elected. It was awesome.
Oh my goodness.
I
My
loved it.
goodness. How I've missed the police jury. I mean, they kick out little old ladies, take over a library board, let a guy be illegal with the, his place of residence for a lot months and months and months and months, and then deny it or just don't say anything about it. Let a guy stay in office, dual office holding for years. I mean, it's like the city council, only different.
Well, with President Trump's delineation that there's only a man and a woman, I don't know what they're going to do about the books they got in the library. I mean, how are they going to navigate that?
I really need to start drinking for real on the show instead of sweet tea or water.
Well, that would be a first.
Full disclosure, I've not drank one drop of alcohol in 200, well, actually, including Louisiana Watch and everything else, over 300 shows.
Well, I'll neither confirm nor deny
I'm not judging. I'm not judging anybody because I may be right there with you before long.
Well, anyway, there were some other significant stuff, and I've got some more notes on the rest of this police jury meeting. But to be honest with you, it didn't matter. They had another crazy vote. They literally had another vote on the MPC from another resignation where they had people voting for one of the candidates. To vote for them, you had to vote to abstain.
What the?
I swear. You think I'm kidding? I'm dead serious.
I get logistically what they were trying to do and technically so that they could just use that to count the votes real easy. But that just seems awfully confusing to the police jurors.
It was a little confusing. I mean, but it worked. They got to where they wanted to get with their votes. I mean, but they had you voting yes, abstaining, and no, voting for three different people. And you were designated as, one of you was either to vote for me, you got to vote yes. To vote for me, you got to abstain. To vote for me, you got to vote no.
Hey, maybe they could just take a cue from Vince Maggio on the city council pushing the wrong button.
Yeah, who knows?
All right. So look, we covered the police jury. Good job, Mr. Lowry, because I got the video ready and uploaded, and then you went through and put all the timestamps in. That takes a lot of work. It's a 2-hour meeting, people.
Yeah.
2-hour police jury meeting.
Good job to you. You do most of the work here lately. And anyway, guys, you're going to have a police city council meeting coming up here pretty soon. The city council and the elections in Bossier City, that's where it's at. You've got all the tools, everything you need to affect good government in Bossier City. And once you do your job in Bossier City, you get the message out, you get a Bossier turned around, we can move on from Bossier City to the Bossier Parish Police Jury full time. It's all on you.
It is. And look, folks, we encourage everybody, even if you're not going to speak, even if you don't want to speak, show up to the city council meeting, even if they don't put it on the agenda. Show up and do the stare contest game. Literally stare those jackasses down. If you're going to get up there to speak, great. Keep it to 3 minutes. Keep it succinct. Whatever. Show up at the meeting. And, of course, we'll be covering it. And, hey, we'll keep posting information and letting you guys know what's going on. Not only in Bossier City now, we're paying attention to the parish.
Yep.
School board, you're next. All right, Mr. Lowry. Straighten the hats up. Get them crooked. Got to go the opposite way.
I was going to end the show when I can't tell whether my hat's straight or not straight. But either way, I can't get it straight. I know it's not straight. It's time to go.
Just means our heads are crooked. That's all.
2.5 hours.
We're out of here. See y'all.
Good night.